you always consider, goes back to some of the things in chapter 5, always consider how you're going to connect to your audience. So, lots of different things to think about. Also, again, I've already said this, I'm being a little bit redundant here, but, how is your individual body part or a site of argument? Hair, clothing, personal consumption, personal sacrifice, whatever. And this is not terribly facetious, but I do think that t-shirts are amazingly important in our society and make a significant point. When you wear something that says, whatever, people see that. And, t-shirts can solve all the world's problems. Like I'm with stupid. Look, it's pointing to me. Okay. So, individual body argumentation. Another example, another thing that we can do is and this is a lot of stuff that we've been reading over the past couple of days, bringing people together, collective bodies. So obviously organizing protest, marches, anything like that is also a very powerful thing that you can do. Here's an example, obviously, of a protest, of collective bodies doing something. This is the original March in Selma, 1965. I'll let you watch that. Very powerful. If you have not seen that movie, Selma, watch it. I'll let you watch this, but it's just an example of collective bodies. This is body rhetoric. Okay. And then different ways that we can sort of improve our collective arguments or make them more effective. You want to try to make sure people know your point. What point are you trying to get across? What do you want to be done? And then he's already said this, I think, in the chapter, whatever it was. Because have to have some sort of little slogan or a pitch or a couple of simple sentences. So, try to have, this is what we're for. Food's not bombs. Whatever. What he says is that these days, collective action needs to be creative. I guess you want media coverage and stuff like that. And you want people to have fun. I still like old-fashioned marches. I've marched in the Pride Parade here. I've marched in the King Day of the Dome rally. I like marches. But he says it needs to have what he calls a rhetorical punch, something that really stands out, whatever that might be. He calls these things picture bombs, which I think is different from a photo bomb. Look, Taylor is photobombing me. Basically, you want something sort of cool that, ooh, wow, maybe visually stunning. People have done those, gotten like the drones, and use their body to make a symbol or make a slogan or something like that. A lot of people these days, protests are doing the collective, what's it called? God, what's it called? I'll think of it in a second. But, something cool, something that makes that sort of a cool visual argument. And don't forget, though, you always want to think about basic rhetorical ideas. Who you're trying to reach, what's the context, how long is your collective action going to be, what's the possible impact, what are your goals, and remember that you're going to have a possible counter arguments and oppositions. Flash mob, that's what I'm talking about. flash mob. A lot of people doing little flash mobs as forms of protest these days. Really cool stuff. Okay, which is closely aligned to street theater, I suppose. Delgandio talks a little bit about how people use some of the ideas of theater to take it to the streets. So it's basically a little staged sort of a play that's trying to make a point. You've seen, sometimes we see those little puppet shows with political figures and stuff like that. You can do whatever you want to. Needs to be simple and clear, and sometimes people do improvisational theater, but most of the stuff is pretty staged and rehearsed. And it's just like, writing a play, putting something together, going to the park and doing it, trying to get people there. More theater tips. Again, you want to have a clear message. You don't want something to be so esoteric, like what point are they trying to get across? You want to figure out how to do this, and you want it to be visual. So we're talking about costuming and all this different type of stuff. You also want to tell a story, need characters, action, scene, conflict, resolution, plot, whatever. I mean, you could, if you are against, if you want to promote, something against like animal abuse or something like that, you could have a little play where somebody plays a dog. And it would be doggone good. More, where are you going to do it? Are you going to need permits and stuff like that? Are you going to do it at the State House? Are you doing it on campus at Columbia College? What's the visual framing? One thing that Jason Delgandio says, everything needs to be exaggerated. I mean, if you're on stage. Where I gotta go? Oh, okay. You don't have to scream. Sometimes that turns folks off. More. You consider sound. You want people to hear you. I mean, all these little things that are, pretty obvious, but but you don't want to go overboard with it. You don't want to confront people because they're, because they're going. You want it to be interesting, visual and verbal. Always face the audience, whatever you're doing. Consider the audience. Remember, they're not paying, and they might just sort of stumble across it if you're doing some sort of street theater or something or other. So you might want to figure out how to, get your message across, so far as inviting people to maybe put a Facebook event. It's like, we're going to have street theater. Okay. What's the point? I had the time of my life. Nobody puts baby in a corner, or nobody puts baby in a corner. So you got to use your body. So when you are thinking about your rhetorical package for body rhetoric, even though you're not doing it, you're thinking about, okay, how is my everyday, embodied argumentation? How can I do that? Am I going to do some sort of design, plan some sort of march or protest? Bring people together collectively? Am I going to do street theater type stuff? Am I going to do a flash mob? Am I going to do some sort of cool visual drone thing? What am I going to do? Am I just going to do t-shirts? It's up to you. Okay, so hopefully going through some of this stuff about the motivated sequence, the stock issue motivated sequence, and the body rhetoric stuff gives you some more practical things to think about, consider as you're moving forward. And again, I'll let you read chapter 6, because they're just sort of case studies, but some really good information. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of the day. I hope by watching this video you had the time of your life. Poor Patrick's